In pencil, sketch a simple box. Create a value scale using only 3 values. Render your box with the light source coming from the top left-hand corner. This 3-value technique works well for master styles such as Frank Miller, Alberto Brescia, and Will Eisner. This style intends to simplify shapes, creating forms through extreme contrasts. The objects are rendered as silhouettes, often with only one gray tone, if any. These masters also use line weight to enhance the illusion of depth. Now, sketch a complex box shape. Render a scale using 5 values. Create the gradation by increasing or decreasing the space between the strokes. Here I started with a solid black fading to white, reducing the line weight as the strokes spread from dark to light. Today I'm using a Tombow brush pen. The medium soft marker tip allows for varying the line weight in one stroke. This saves you from changing pens to different tip sizes. Render your complex box using the 3 primary values, same as we did in the previous exercise with the simple box. You see, because the overhanging features cast shadows below, those areas have deeper shading, and that's why we need the extra midtone values from 3 to 5. The intention of this style, using only parallel lines, works well if you're influenced by the techniques of masters Franklin Booth and Bernie Wrightson, neat and calculated, or fast and scribbly like James Montgomery Flagg. Note that line direction is less important. We're interested in building a gradation using parallel lines. The strokes can be vertical, horizontal, or perpendicular as long as they don't cross one another. The lines interlock, sometimes have no edges, and seldom cross. Since the style is more abstract, you can get away with shapes that are less realistic as long as the values make sense. With this next exercise, let's start with the value scale. To build tone, intensify the shading by crossing strokes over another. We'll also squeeze in the 6th value, aiming for a realistic style. Let's sketch our complex box to look more like a large rock. I start with the lightest value next to the whites. Then the midtones, finishing with crosshatches for the darks. If you're wondering why I did the outline last, it's a technique I learned from doing master studies for a lively, fluid illustration. You can build on your rock shape, smaller stones or tall boulders to test a broader range of cast shadows. If this were a landscape, the further rocks would appear less detailed, simplified, similarly to the rendering technique from the first exercise. This works well if you favor the style of masters like Barry Windsor Smith, Albrecht Dürer, or Enki Bilal. If none of those styles are a good fit for how you like to render or for an illustration you're working on, some masters mix it up with the freestyle technique, using all the styles in combination, such as Hugo Pratt, Gregor Rosinski, Kamome Shirahama. You can still refer to a value scale, the guiding principles remain the same. You would simply create your desired pattern using irregular strokes. Any texture will work, whatever suits the piece you're working on. So far, we've rendered rocks from imagination, without a reference. This is doable because we're following the principles of lighting and shading for pen and ink. Let's say you are drawing from reference for a particular project. We'll use this rock from my backyard to demonstrate. You can take a screenshot or access it as a free PDF download from my blog. The link is in the description below, along with the materials I used in this video. The steps are the same. First, establish the source of light, then simplify the shapes of your subject. Choose a rendering style, create a value scale, which we've already have plenty of. Start by rendering the basic values, then build the midtones as you include more details. The shape of this rock is quite irregular. Even though I use the live reference, a copy of reality is not always the most convincing in an illustration. In this case, my preference is to use the reference to inform where to place the values, but I modified the shape to look more like a standard rock, what you would expect. If it were placed in a composition, this real rock might look weird. But any of the other rocks we rendered today would fulfill their purpose in a supporting role in a composition. I hope that you enjoyed these 5 exercises with different styles to render rocks. If you did, give it a like, subscribe for more. I wish you all the best with your pen and ink projects. Catch you on the next one.